Dramiller on the beat.
MAV, you got the answers, bro.
I'm out of these words, the words that I wrote, the words that I quote, the words that I told. Too many is told, too many get told. My feelings are old, my feelings are bold, my feelings are hold, my feelings on hold, my feelings on hold, my feelings on hold.
What's up, everybody? What's up? What it do, what it does. You know what it does. If it doesn't do that, it does this. Right? It's your girl Tay. It's your favorite Instagram baddie. You know what I'm saying? Professional ghoster. I'll say Professor Side Chick. Your favorite NR. Don't play me.
Yes, mama. Yes, mama.
Welcome back to Have a Drink, guys. Thank you so much for coming through. It's so nice to see you. If you're new here, hope you stay. If you're not, thank you for coming back again. As I said, I'm Tay, and who am I with today? I don't know you.
You fine looking mama. It's your girl D. Does the most. Go with no bars, but you know you still got this. Oksalayo.
Yeah, find your body.
No, cause I'm not money. Yes, sir.
Guys,
Yes, sir.
we need new co-hosts. With Dramiller in there like swimmer killing it cause we're winning it. It's bulile.
Yes.
You know, page 5. We back at it again. Last episode we talked about black tax. Yeah man, it got a bit heated even afterwards. But don't wanna go deep into it, you understand?
Yeah. Dramatic. Dramatic.
I ain't gonna win, yeah. Oh man. But yeah, again, we don't always roll alone, you know. These
Guys, please. Guys, I'd like to introduce you to Double M. What?
Hello, world. It's your boy Double M
Yes,
from
yes.
the East Rand Podcast Files,
Ultra.
Aishi Mike Movement,
Ultra.
from Ekuruleni FM, and you know I'm so happy to be
Hey.
on this podcast today. You know I'm joining the family. This is my family, by the way, guys.
We all
Oh,
Booty. I've had them on the show. I've had them on my podcast, and you know today it feels good to be on this side of the world. Hello, world.
Hey.
lovely to
Show me.
Man.
Show me.
Wow.
I've had
Oh, guys.
Show me.
But yeah, Double M, thanks for coming through.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank
Like
you
you mentioned
guys.
before, we had the East Rand podcast show. We had a session with you, and yeah, man, we started the family thing and wanted to
Absolutely.
carry it on. You know, it's all about
Absolutely.
making
Absolutely,
sure that
guys.
people see that we always here
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
Basically, that's what the show kind of means. We're
That's
always
what's
here
up.
for you.
That's what's up. I'm
So,
happy to be here.
Starting at the topic, today we're going to talk about is like the importance of education. Right? Do you think education is important?
Yeah.
So
It's
basically-
that deep. It's
Is
that
it that deep? And how does education help you?
In this day and
If it
age,
does.
yeah. In this day
So
and
we must
age.
support your answer. So
Okay.
I'll start off. I don't know.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
go ahead.
Let's go. Smart
Go.
boys. Forget about specs.
Me now.
Please.
Sorry, guys.
As I was saying, I think education is important for once.
Yeah.
Without education, I mean, from grade R to like grade 7, that's like one of the most important
Yeah.
times to learn. So you get to learn how to read, how to write, how to spell, how to, calculate. You starting fundamental things. So what I'm trying to say that life is short, right? And education just brings in a whole it's like a tool to find yourself through life. That's how I see education.
Okay.
Alright, okay.
Can I say something?
Mm-hmm.
I say something.
You're gonna say it on
I'm gonna say something. I don't say something.
Say something.
Shop fair. The education is important, right, to a certain extent. But I do feel like, but you can learn them at home, right? You can learn how to write, you can learn how to calculate, you can learn how to spell, you can learn how to all those things. It's just that our parents just don't have that time on their hands, you know. That's why we have educational institutions.
So yeah, guys, you know, before we get any further, let us have a drink.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
So yeah, education.
Basically, this is my take on education, right? Education is important, right? Because then how do you learn to do like basic things, right? Because we were having a chat in here and we established that education is learning, right? So regardless of where you get it, as long as you are learning, that's the key factor. And now you must understand that anything can be education. Education can range from learning how to handle a camera, learning how to do your timetables. It can go like how to use a mic and all of that, you know, because basic skills also, that's education.
So the
right?
fundamentals.
Yeah,
are important.
that's education, fundamentals. Does education determine your success? Yeah.
I love how you said
No.
but it's
I think
true.
it does.
That's true.
It doesn't.
I think it does.
It does too.
Yeah, but it does.
I don't
Probably,
know.
okay, let me say for a lot of fields it does, but there's also fields where people, they can be as educated as they want, but they still can't get opportunities probably because of the field that they're in.
But they still learned
They
the
learn
fundamentals.
Yes.
They used the tool of education.
No, but- True.
So education.
Okay.
Alright. What double M? Let's
Alright.
massive.
My take would be swine of education. I don't think education can help you or take you I think it can help you in some instances, but there's where it can limit you. And the reason why I say that is because our education system, for me, I think it fails us in so many ways.
Facts.
Yes, I said
You know.
it again. What?
That's why it's
No.
hard. That's why it's even hard to pinpoint where does education can help or where it cannot help.
Yeah.
You know, because for me, I feel like the education that, especially as Black people, that we were supposed to be given is the education of self-knowledge. You know, because I think the education Les Kulumangayo on the podcast, for me, it strikes me like it's an education, you know, the governmental education, the system education, the education that is expected of you, that you need to pass matric,
Yeah.
speak
Yeah.
good English, you know, be able to add, etc. But for me, I think the best education is self-knowledge education. For me, I think that's where education starts. You know, when we talk about education, for me, I think we need to start about knowledge of self. Yes, that's when then we can venture into different aspects of education.
Okay.
If we talk about education.
Yeah.
But
That's
and
true.
that's so hard because where do you fit it in? When we go to the thing is we can't like almost separate the two because it's very hard to do it. Because when you're still young, you are forced to be under the governmental education. No matter how messed up the system is, that's a topic for a different day because it's such a long thing. But how do you put that time in it when they won't even integrate it? Where it's almost like their responsibility to do it, to teach young, like the younger us as we're growing up, that self-worth, that self-love,
Yeah.
that self-knowledge of everything. So how do you even fit that in when?
You know,
You get what I'm saying?
I think I get what you're saying. For me, I think it's that's why it was even hard for me to explain this topic in the first place.
Yeah.
Because when you talk about education, abantu vele bacabanga le education
Yeah.
sonke siyicabangayo, le nami ngiyicabangayo. But for me, I don't think that's the basic education.
It's
that-
not, but like my thing is like more cooler.
Yeah.
It's either you have your parents, the community you have, or the school to learn so many things. So in breadth of like being taught probably by your parents know that you need to be of self-knowledge. Like that's the part that you need the most. Your parents will be able to implement that for you. But for families that they don't have that structure or the community around them that does that, I feel like it was the responsibility of us black people and our government to understand that part. So that's why I'm like, how do you separate the two?
Okay, I think I get what you're saying.
But now I think now it ties in with time. You know, I think education reminds me of how important time is. Because in between, you need that time of knowing what is right and what is wrong, and knowing what is to do, what not to do, all of that, at the same time. And at the same time, the world is having a lot of pressures, pandemic,
crazy things,
earthquakes. There's a lot to take in. I mean, we live in a quite chaotic world, and that's why I think education, as much as it's not like you would like it to be in our government, but at least manipulate it how you would want it to be. Like use a certain tool of like, okay, let me go study marketing so that I can know how people think, for example.
Okay.
Afterwards, let me go study finances because I've been struggling on trying to get my life in order. Damn, I'm always broke.
Okay.
But like that's a good thing, which are we all gonna get it at a later stage of our lives.
But okay, let me tell you how Lababani have mastered it. Lababani. How they've mastered it is in most cases you find that they take their kids to homeschooling instead of an actual school. That's how they crack that code, Yoguti. Okay, that's how we're gonna teach our kids self-knowledge, self-love, self-worth, self. Because in homeschooling, there's room for all of that. Whereas in school, you have to be there for a certain number of hours. If you have periods. So, one thing I think as us, right? The race, Tina. We weren't afforded that opportunity to be able to get homeschooling because they know, Guti, that's how we're gonna break it. That's how we're gonna break the code. Yeah, that's how we're gonna break the code. But I think because even now I'm oversharing, but even my brother, he decided that he's gonna do that with his kids, and you can just see with those kids, you can see no man, these kids aren't the same as, because homeschooling gives you that room to have that all-round education. Tina phela systematic tina. Get a class in Pumala, you break. You need to go ask when you wanna go pee. Like, come on.
Okay. Dramiller, as I was saying to you, my brother, for me, I think, when it comes to education, I think we need to break it down a little bit. Every time when I talk about education, I always get attacked because my mentality when it comes to education is completely different. Just to rephrase what I said earlier on, I think for me it starts with knowledge of self. When you have knowledge of self, uyazazi ukuthi ubani emhlabeni in this crazy world, regardless ukuthi bathini eklasini, because eklasini bazokutshela ukuthi solve for x, and not all of us can solve that x. Some of us are good in the sports field, some of us are good in talking, some of us are good in filming, etc. And then for me, when I say you need to find that knowledge of self first, I think if you find that knowledge of self, then you can pursue that particular education.
Spot on.
That's my take, just to rephrase what I said earlier on. And then I feel like Udintle has asked, how can you maneuver, etc. I feel like if your parents cannot advise advise you that particular career of yours, you can find it in your own way or in your own self, and then from then on you can find ways just to pursue that particular education so that you can better yourself. That's my education.
Insightful for days.
I told him that was very insightful.
Insightful for days.
Yeah,
Insightful
so-
for days.
But yeah, but that's the whole point of the show, is to make sure that, you know, we understand that people have different perspectives about basically everything.
Absolutely,
The way you see
absolutely,
red is not the same.
absolutely.
as I see red,
Maroon.
you know, so that's
That's
why we
crazy.
have this
I really wanna know how to
conversation.
see red.
But it's nice to have somebody on
I
the
really wanna
outside
know.
who.
That's my
Yeah.
education. If you ask me, my
That's
brother.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so-
I want a part 2. I know about y'all, but
Please.
be on
I
my
want the
side.
part
Come
2
on,
as
guys.
well.
Please be on
I
my
want the part
side
2
and
as well.
say
Yes.
yes, right? Please be on my
Come
side
on.
and say yes.
Yes,
Part 2
yes.
is
Nah, but
Because we can unpack on this. Come on, guys. I mean, we can unpack on this. And before you talk, I know
say
you're going to
yes.
talk. I know you're going to talk. But before you talk, there's ways where we can advise people on how they can unleash their potential. Because I know other people, most of the time people look for TV, Babugeli TV, to think that they can unleash their potential, you know. But we can find ways, or we can tell them, Uguti, how can you unleash your potential?
True.
Or how can you help your little one to unleash their potential at home, so
That's
that they
true.
find that real education, not the education as he told from the system.
Yes, part 2, guys.
And that's culture.
I say
Please,
yes. I say
approve.
yes. Guys, TV and friend, we on YouTube, we on TV.
Oh,
Yes,
That's all I will say. But thank you so much for coming once again.
Thank you,
I
thank
really,
you.
we all of us
Oh,
really
thank
do
you so much.
appreciate it.
Ah,
It's
thank
very
you for
fun
having
talking
me,
to you.
guys. Sure.
Thank
Very
you.
insightful and very smart man. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank
Thank you,
guys.
sir.
You guys must not forget to like, share,
Come on.
comment, subscribe,
Come
and
on.
turn
Yeah.
on your notification
Please.
bell. So you know when we
Tell
drop
your
them
mama.
bangers.
Yes, baby.
Bang after bang after bang.
Yes, drink
Once
Once
mama.
again, thank you so much for tuning in to Have a Drink. And the Instagram baddie is
Okay.
not.
Go,
Oh,
mama.
yes.